In 2:30 a.m. in our tiny Berlin co-working space, 5 of us squeezed around one wobbly table. Empty energy drink cans, half-eaten donor wrappers, laptop screens lighting up our tired faces. We just closed our first seed round, 2 million euros. Our AI tool predicts what small businesses' customers are going to buy next. We felt unstoppable. Then my phone buzzes. An email. Subject line. EUAI Act Compliance Alert. I open it. 40 pages of legalese, deadlines, risk categories, fines up to 6% of global turnover. My stomach drops. In that moment, our dream didn't just hit a speed bump. It felt like the whole road was collapsing. So here I am, telling you the story exactly how it feels when you're living it. Back in April 2021, the European Commission proposed the world's first comprehensive AI law. The pitch was beautiful. Make AI safe, transparent, respectful of human rights, while still letting innovation thrive. Noble, right? But by the time it passed and came into force on August 1st, 2024, it had grown into this 400-plus page beast. It doesn't treat all AI the same. It sorts everything into risk levels. Minimal risk, spam filters, video game NPCs, basically do whatever. Limited risk, chatbots, deepfakes, just put a clear label so people know it's AI. High risk, anything used in hiring, credit scoring, education, healthcare, critical infrastructure. You need rigorous testing, high-quality datasets, technical documentation, human oversight, the works. Unacceptable risk, social scoring by governments, real-time facial recognition in public by police, with very few exceptions. Banned outright. Then there's general-purpose AI, the big foundational models like the ones powering GPT or Stable Diffusion. They get transparency rules, risk assessments, copyright compliance. And if your model is big enough to be systemic risk, even more scrutiny, mandatory evaluations, incident reporting. The deadlines roll in like waves you can't outrun. February 2nd, 2025, prohibited AI bans hit. No more subliminal manipulation, no more exploitative emotion recognition at work. We had a little mood tracking experiment in beta. Had to kill it the same week. August 2nd, 2025, GPAI rules kick in hard. Training data summaries, systemic risk management, copyright checks. New models had to comply immediately. Mistral A. I went public saying it would strangle open source innovation. Over 100 European startups signed open letters begging for more time. And now? We're staring down August 2nd, 2026, the day high-risk obligations fully apply. That's us. Our tool touches hiring predictions, credit trend forecasting for small businesses, high-risk territory. For new systems like ours, full risk management framework, detailed technical docs, quality data governance, post-market monitoring, all before we can even launch properly. The Commission was supposed to release clear guidelines on high-risk classification, Article 6, by February 2nd, 2026. They missed it. Still waiting. Drafts are floating around, maybe final in March or April. Standardization bodies are aiming for late 2026 on technical specs. National authorities are behind on enforcement infrastructure. That uncertainty is brutal. A Reddit founder put it bluntly. We're building legal tech AI and suddenly need Annex 4 documentation, continuous bias monitoring, logs for every decision. Vendors don't help. We're burning runway just to stay legal. A Polish health diagnostic startup got classified high risk, waited 6 months for conformity assessment standards that didn't exist yet, and lost market share to American competitors who had no such rules. Lena, a founder in Munich, built EcoPredict, AI that forecasts environmental impact for construction projects, classified high risk because of critical infrastructure links. Her team burned months on data audits. Sandboxes, the free testing environments the EU promised for SMEs, barely existed. Only a handful of countries, Spain, France, Netherlands, have anything running. EU-wide guidance project finishes in July 2026, literally weeks before the deadline. She posted on LinkedIn, "We're not big tech. This act was supposed to protect us, but it's pricing us out." That post went viral. Even American startups are feeling it. If your AI touches even one EU user, you're in scope. One San Francisco founder told me he pulled his hiring AI out of Europe entirely because the logging and bias check requirements would have doubled dev time. Venture capital is pulling back. Reports show EU AI funding dipped about 15% after the act passed. Founders are quietly relocating to the UK or the US where the rules are lighter. Critics say Europe is handing the future to China and America on a silver platter. But here's the part that keeps me up at night, and also keeps me fighting. This isn't just red tape. It's a moat. The companies that figure this out early become the trusted ones. Banks, hospitals, enterprises, they want EU compliant on the box because it means lower liability for them. A Berlin legal tech startup integrated bias monitoring and audit logs from day one. Now they're signing enterprise contracts left and right while US competitors scramble to retrofit. A fintech founder I know spent €150,000 upfront on governance frameworks. Painful, but it unlocked €2 million in EU deals they never would have won otherwise. The act forces cleaner data, fewer hallucinations, better long-term performance. Sandboxes are slowly rolling out. SMEs get priority access, reduced fees, capped fines. EU programs like Gen AI for EU and the AI Continent Action Plan are throwing supercomputing access, talent pipelines, and collaboration hubs at startups that play ball. In a world where trust in AI is becoming the scarcest resource, being able to say fully compliant with the world's strictest rules isn't a burden, it's a superpower. Europe isn't strangling innovation, it's forcing the whole planet to play at a higher standard. And the startups that master this don't just survive, they become the gold standard. So yeah, the freight train is coming. August 2026 is real, but we're not jumping off the tracks. We're learning how to ride it. In the summer of 2025, Johannes Schilt sat in his Stockholm office, staring at a draft email that could make or break his reputation. As the founder and former CEO of Cry, a Swedish health tech unicorn valued at over $2 billion, he'd built a company that used AI to revolutionize telemedicine, diagnosing symptoms, triaging patients, and even predicting health trends. Cry had raised hundreds of millions from investors across Europe, and their AI systems were classified as high risk under the new EU AI Act. That meant endless audits, bias monitoring, data governance logs, and conformity assessments, costs that could eat 25% of their R&D budget just to stay compliant. But it wasn't just Cry. Johannes had been hearing the same horror stories from fellow founders. A Finnish mood-tracking app shuttered features overnight after the February 2025 bans on exploitative emotion AI. A Polish diagnostics startup delayed launch by months, waiting for unfinished standards, watching US rivals scoop up market share. Mistral AI, the French open-source darling, was publicly railing against rules they said would stifle innovation and force them to withhold models from the market. Over drinks at a Berlin tech meetup, Johannes connected with Anton Osaka of Sana Labs and Frederick Yelm of Voi. Everyone was scrambling, hiring lawyers they couldn't afford, and watching VC funding dip 15% as investors fled the regulatory fog. Inspired by Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson's call to freeze enforcement, Johannes decided to act. He drafted an open letter warning that the Act's vague guidelines and tight deadlines risked creating a fragmented, unpredictable environment that undermines innovation. He fired it off to his network. Within days, over 110 signatures poured in, from Synthesia COO Stefan Cherald to 20 VCs Harry Stebbings and founders at Deal, BetterStack, and TomTom. Published on Sifted in July 2025, the letter demanded a 2-year pause on high-risk obligations, arguing Europe was handing dominance to China and America. The backlash worked, sort of. By late 2025, the European Commission floated a 6-month delay via the Digital Omnibus proposal, pushing some deadlines to December 2027. But for Johannes and Cry, it was a turning point. They pivoted. Integrating compliance early became a selling point. EU Ready, stamped on their pitch decks, landed enterprise deals with hospitals wary of non-compliant tech. By early 2026, Cry's valuation held steady, and Johannes reflected in a LinkedIn post, "The act nearly broke us, but it forced us to build better, more transparent, more ethical AI. Now, it's our edge." This wasn't just survival, it was adaptation. As Airbus and ASML joined similar calls for pauses, the ecosystem shifted. Startups like those in the EU AI Champions Initiative started seeing compliance as a moat, attracting talent and funding focused on trustworthy AI. Yet, whispers of relocations to the UK persisted, a reminder that for every win, the Act's freight train still loomed. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not legal advice, financial advice, or professional consultation. The EU AI Act is complex, still evolving, and open to interpretation by authorities. Deadlines, guidelines, and enforcement can and do change. Always consult qualified legal experts, your national AI authority, or the European AI office for your specific situation. Compliance depends entirely on your AI system's exact use case, classification, and operations. Missteps can lead to serious fines. Everything here is based on publicly available information as of February 2026. No guarantees about future developments. If this hit home, smash that like button if you're rooting for the underdogs. Drop a comment. Tell me your biggest takeaway or your biggest worry right now. And if you want more real talk about surviving AI policy, startup horror stories, and practical ways to turn this into an advantage, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We're in this together. Europe's AI future is being built right now by founders like you and me. Let's make it one worth believing in. See you in the next one. Ready to record. Raw, direct, personal, just like you asked.